Welcome back, All Sports West New York. Mike Robitaille, my guest in the studio. And Mike, Ehrhoff, they buy out his contract, but I mean, you talk about a tremendous deal. For the next, I think it's 14 years, the team still pays him $800,000 a year, plus he'll sign a new contract with somebody else, probably for more money. Mike, when you were playing hockey, somebody said, all right, Mike, sign on the dotted line, and guess what? 14 years from now, we'll still be sending a check for $800 grand to your house.
I did it for $100 with the New York Rangers, and I was thrilled, but thank God that has changed, because in those days, people around those hockey clubs were basically crooks and took such advantage of the players who is, there's no words to describe, you know, some of the stuff that went on.
That's not the case anymore.
All that garbage is over with, and it's pretty hard to, for any player to say I've been mismanaged when you're knocking down that type of bread, and that's what they're doing. But Christian, I mean, you know, when you look back at the tour, you know, over a few years, I don't think anybody's been in a sweeter spot. I mean, everything has really worked out well for him, and he gets his buyout, and then on top of that, whatever he's made, if he's making $4 now, someone's going to have to pay him $5.5 million a year, probably another $5 or $6 million 6-year contract, and he's capable. He's a top 4 defenseman. I think he's a pretty good defenseman. That's a big hole to fill. Yeah. I mean, he hasn't blown anyone away in the last 2 years, but he played a lot, and you could pound a lot of ice time to him and put him out there under really difficult situations. It wasn't an easy team to play for.
All right, now for those of you watching, and you might be saying, hey, that's Mike Robitaille. I thought he retired. I thought he probably went down to Florida.
He should have retired.
Yeah, well. But you know, we were talking before the show, you've got a lot on your plate. I mean, next hockey season, we're still going to hear plenty from Mike Robitaille.
Well, I'll do my radio show again, and I suppose if every now and then if somebody gets sick on the television crew, I'll fill in or do a couple special assignments. But you know, when I left this game as a player, I didn't get to leave my terms. I broke my neck one night, and that was the end of my career. But now I have an opportunity later on, in later years, is where I am now, to kind of move along in a fashion I would like to. And interestingly, it's funny you mentioned, well, I'd like to retire, and then the phone starts ringing off the hook. It's like, where were you people 2 or 3 years ago? You get busy. So wow. I've got plenty of things to do, and a lot to learn. I've got to reevaluate and reestablish myself in some ways, and I'm willing to do that.
To retell the story, and I've told this before, and you were very gracious on your last broadcast with the Sabres, and you credited Empire Sports and John Regas and myself and others. And you know, I still vividly remember being on the phone with John Regas, who said, I want to have a call-in show after the Sabre games, and I want somebody to take fans' questions and analyze the game. And I had one guy in mind, that was you, and you were available because the Sabres had let you go as their color analyst.
Correct.
We brought you on board. The Sabres were not happy. They saw it as a direct slap in their face because you weren't working for them. We were 2 separate entities at the time. And the show was, you were as candid could be. I mean, you were given no instructions by myself or anybody else to sugarcoat anything. And Hockey Hotline became the singular most popular post-game show in the entire NHL. And I remember specifically Gary Bettman once being quoted, and it was about Empire, but also our post-game show, that if the rest of the league was like Buffalo and Hockey Hotline and the Empire Sports Network, the NHL would be as big as the NFL in this country, because that's the kind of coverage. But you did that show with Brian Blessing, you did it with Josh Mora.
That's right.
For a couple of years, you did the show all by yourself with just a guest player every night.
At the beginning?
Yeah. So, and that was, you know, I mean, thinking back on those days, and I know it changed when you went to work for the Sabres, it had to change, but that was really a unique situation for a guy like you.
It's highly unusual because I was free to just be myself and give my opinions, and understanding that things change, and that isn't the way it works all the time now. You really have to be diplomatic, and rightly so, and I understand all that. But for some reason or other, you know, the old man, he just bought into this stuff, and he said, well, you know, somebody, when you say something good about the team, they're also going to believe you.
Right.
So it works both ways, he says. So he said, you go ahead. He says, just, you know, get your facts and figures right, make sure you're correct, and don't you worry about the players down there. I'll get Darcy to take care of them, and you just do what you have to do. So he gave us some rope and we ran with it. And you know, it was just those numbers for that show.
Yeah,
pretty amazing.
you kept
sometimes.
over half the audience,
Yeah.
which is amazing for any post-game show.
So it was.
I vividly remember.
That certainly saved my. I mean, when I got fired, that was it. I didn't know. So that whole situation at Empire reestablished me and put me on my feet and got me going again. So
I was paying attention.
Kind of,
I thought you did. I thought you were the best color analyst the Sabres ever had.
you got a sharp eye.
Well, yes, my wife thinks so. I vividly remember I got called on the carpet one day up to the Sabres when I was with Empire. Nordy Knox and Larry Quinn. This is before the Regises had bought the team, and Larry was incensed about something you had said about a young defenseman the night before, and I had to walk in with the tape of the broadcast, and we played it for Nordy, and Nordy turned and looked at me and says, he's right. And that was the end of the meeting, and the last time I got called in there. But anyway, you called it like you saw it. So what are you doing now for the summer, Mike? What are you going to be down with your Speedo down at the beach there at Mickey Rat's, or should we?
Good in the Speedo, huh? I haven't been down there in a while.
I don't want to think about it.
I should go down there. You know the advice I was given? Do nothing for about 4 or 5 months, and you'll be amazed how many times, whether you're just sitting around with friends or overhear a conversation where things jump up and pop up out of the blue, and you, oh, geez, you know, I do have enough energy. Man, I got a lot left in the tank,
Right.
type of thing. So I want to be quiet for half a year, just quiet. I don't want to get all the noise out of my life and everything else. I just want white noise and be peaceful and do what I want for a change instead of, you know, tap dancing as fast as I can. You know, so.
As long as your wife goes along with that, I guess you got a plan.
Well, that's something else we're going to have to talk about.
Mike Robitaille, always great to have on the show. We'll have him back, and enjoy the summer, buddy.
Oh, it's great talking. Good being with you, Bob.
All right.
Yep.
We'll be back. We'll see Sam Reinhart in the flesh right after this.